Hello, we're going to go over the Cooper Incorporated problem that you had to do. And I don't know what years you had, so I just put 2011, 12, and 13 down. But the expenditures for that year, and the date started was January 1st, 2011. I have 10 up there, but it should be an 11 based on my new problem. Oh, there we go, 2011. And we had 2011, 2012, and 2013. The completion date being April 30th of 2012. Oh, let's make that the different dates up there. That's what happens when I do this. Okay. All right, what we have here is that these are the expenditures right here that we spent, which should be the same as the problem you had. And they are assuming the costs incur evenly throughout the year. Okay. The first thing you have to do when you borrow money for the project itself, that is what you use first. And so we have equal interest times the 10%, so 250,000. That will be used first every year. And then we have the general borrowing is we need to find a weighted average for the interest rate. So we had two other borrowings, and it was $784,000 total. So then we would take the average, which is equal to the 784 divided by, and I do it this way before I forget, it wanted to round, so make sure you use the round function. The 784 divided by the total amount borrowed, which is a 4.2 million plus the 5.8 million. Yeah, I know. And you close, comma, as 4 decimal places because it is a percentage. Okay, so 7.84% is our general borrowing. Okay. Now, to calculate the interest, for 2011, our beginning balance was 0 because we hadn't done anything yet. Now, to get the average during the year, you take the expenditures for the year and divide it by 2 because we want the average for the year. And so the total amount subject to capitalization for interest is $1,300,000. So we have the $1,300,000 that's subject to it. Remember, the first amount is the 10%. So here we would simply take the equal this times the 10%, which gives you 130,000. Okay, I already started the journal entries. So you debit the building for 130,000 that you're building, and your credit is also for the 130,000. Okay, so over here for 2011, we put in the expenditures was 2.6 million for the building fund. We use all of it. And I use a double T account. That's my balance column. And then we also have interest here that we just did for the building. There was 130,000. So this is equal to 2,600,000 plus the 130, or 2,730,000. So for 2012 now, the next year, our beginning balance is 2,730,000. Then we want the average expenditures, which is the 4.2 million divided by 2. And again, we'd add those up. So this is the amount that's subject to capitalization. That's not your total expenditures for the year. That's how much you have subject to capitalization. So so we take this, which is what was subject to it. Now we don't take that. Remember, this is over the 2.5 million that we borrowed. So what we have here, we start with the 2.5 million. This is at the 10% because that was specifically for the project. Times the 10% gives you this amount. And now this one is equal to the total amount of expenditures minus the $2.5 million. Okay, and now this interest rate here will be the 7.84% that we calculated, and then this one will be the same calculation, but do it this way, equal to this amount, the 2,330,000 times the 7.84%, and then we add those up to get the totals there. Okay. Now this is then over down here. For the building, that's the amount that we would debit the building for, the $432,672, and we'd credit interest expense for that same amount. So over here for 2012, that's my date. This time the expenditures though is the 4.2 million that we put in here and the amount of interest right there. Okay, so then we just copy this down to see what our balances are. Okay, so that's what we have so far. Now for 2013, we go through the same process again. Okay, this is my beginning balance right here. And my average during the year was this divided by 2. And then we add those up and we get 8,312,000. Now this is going to be a little bit different. Now again, the first 2.5 million is for that. And that is equal to the 10%. And then the balance is going to be subject to capitalization is that amount minus the 2.5 million, which is this, and that, remember, was at the 7.84%. Now the difference on this one is that we finish this April 30th, so that is for 4/12 of a year. I don't want a date there, I want okay, and this is going to be also 4/12 of a year. Okay, so to get the amount of capitalized interest, we take this amount times the 10% times the partial year that we have, because you only can capitalize to the point of when you completed the project. And auto sum. Okay. Now what you need to do here, because it's a weird dollar amount, I need to do my round function, and probably for 0. Yeah, so that one had a round because of the 1/3. Okay, that's the total I want there. What am I doing? Oh, I want that's okay. Make it look nice. So the entry for this would be for the 237, and this one is also equal to the 235, 237. Okay, so for 2013, then we would add the 1.9 million for expenditures, and then we'd also add the amount of interest we had in here, and our total then for the building is you add these up. I always use the T accounts to keep things. So our building value then will be $9,497,909. That's the value that we'd have for the building. Okay, this is how you do the capitalization of interest. Okay, you can only capitalize when you start the project up until the time that you finish the project, and that's why in the last year you can only take 4/12 of the year or 1/3 of the year. Okay, so I hope this helps, and I guess I will talk to you probably later. Thank you.